everybody. Welcome. Today we're going to talk about our favorite subject, self-driving cars.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Yeah. I have a friend who's like, there's no way I'm not getting into one, and I'm like, but we've done some statistics. I've read a couple things that actually self-driving cars are supposed to be a little bit safer than the cars that are driven by, people,
Yes.
because of, well, a couple reasons. We don't, the human error, emotional,
Mhm,
we're not,
mhm.
they don't get stressed out. They won't be yelling to somebody on the phone, that kind of thing, right?
Road rage. Yeah, I
Road
guess
rage,
no road
right?
rage.
If you like our videos, go ahead and click on like and subscribe. We really appreciate it. Thanks.
Mhm.
But statistically, they haven't done enough tests yet. But
Yeah.
the tests that they have done, it's about 10%, safer at this point. But they haven't done enough tests yet to really know the statistics. But there was one company that was saying, well, if it's 10% safer and we don't start doing it soon, then that's 10% of the people that could be saved. But there's a lot of other things that need to go into the research before they do. We really fully can have self-driving cars because, I was reading one article that I thought was kind of interesting, like liability. What if people get in an accident in self-driving cars? Who are they going to
Oh
blame?
yeah, whose fault? Who's at fault?
Right, because it's like when a
Yeah,
plane goes down,
yeah,
it's like, oh, you're going to sue the manufacturer, you're going to sue the person that made the part that
right.
went bad. There's a lot of complications to
Hmm.
that, don't you
That's
think?
true. Yep. Well, I read, and I didn't read it recently, but obviously, Elon Musk is always talking about the AI, and
Sure.
Andrew Yang is talking about AI with the trucks, the semis,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I read that they're a lot safer
Mm,
than a self-driven car, than a human-driven car because
mm,
of human error. And
mm-hmm.
they're going to use um, computers, so it'll be a computer controlled
Sure.
vehicle. And there's one thing, there's 100 different sensors or 100 different AI modules that they're
Mm-hmm.
measuring. They're measuring the speed of, how many, what's around it, the speed of the autos around it, all the objects around it. But there
Right.
are a couple of things that they're still working on it. They thought
Sure.
that by now we would have them
Yeah.
everywhere, but they're still working out the kinks. So one thing was weather. They don't take weather into
Right.
account, because so when this computer, is driving along, what happens if it starts raining or it runs into an ice patch?
Sure. Sure.
And then another thing was being able to detect the difference between, a dog crossing the road or just a paper bag blowing
Mm-hmm.
across the
Mm-hmm.
road, or little ducklings walking across the road, or leaves, whether it's leaves or ducklings or whatever. So they're still working out the kinks. And I don't think we'll, have to worry about them until they are proven to be very safe because of, like you said, all the liability and
Sure. That's a
um,
whole big thing that we got to, insurance companies are going to get involved. But
mhm.
I was reading something that I thought was really interesting. That I thought, is this a stock tip? Like they were saying, people that bought into Google way ahead of time, they're so rich. I think,
Mm. Mhm.
should I buy some stock? And they were saying the number one company right now is Tesla, for
Uh-huh.
self-driving cars, stock wise. And then there's a
Okay.
company called NVDA,
Uh-huh.
that's supposedly number two. That's going to, be the biggest
Did
stock
you say anything
holder.
about Nicola?
Nicola, no,
Nicola,
I didn't
I think.
get that one in this article. And then the third one was Aptiv, APTV, or Aptiv,
Okay.
which is a spinoff from Delphi Automotive. But supposedly those are three to watch if you're interested in,
Okay.
investigating in stock. So I thought, should I start looking into
Well,
that now?
Tesla's way overpriced. And
Right.
then I think it's Nicola. I have some of their stocks, and they went way up in the beginning when they first came on the market,
Mm-hmm.
and then they took a dive
Mm-hmm.
because, it was overly hyped. And now I
Mm-hmm.
bought when it was low. So I'm hoping it
Mm-hmm.
goes back up. So that's why I'm like, is that one
Right.
of them? But yeah, I'm sure you just like cannabis, they're talking about the cannabis
Sure.
stocks, and yeah, some people are going to be big winners out of it if it happens.
Well, I
So
believe it's an inevitability. It's an inevitability. But it's just when, and like you were
yeah.
saying, the trucks, they're starting now. Supposedly there's a
Yeah.
lot of automated self-driving trucks. Oh,
Yeah.
and that's going to put a lot of truck drivers out of work, as we were
Yeah.
talking about in another.
Well, I found when I did some research, there's a company called Too Simple, Tusimple, and they are using AI driven trucks with humans in them. So there's a human in it. So they're kind of still in the experimental
Okay,
stage, but
good.
they're
Good.
the number one company using semis. Um, and so there is a human that's got to be there in case something goes wrong.
Sure.
That's a step forward. And then, of course, there is the concern not only of our getting over our fear of getting in a self-driven car, but then there's the concern of, the truck drivers being out of jobs.
Well, that's true too. But I mean, I hate to say it, but I really do think it's gonna happen. I mean, it's just a matter of when, and and a lot of people that are proponents of using self-driving cars also because of for fuel, so we won't have to use gas. But then there's that other concern where we get the batteries. I didn't even think about that. It's like, where are the batteries going to go? And how does that affect the environment? The old batteries.
There's still a lot of damage to the environment from batteries too. Yeah, I don't know. The self-driving cars make me nervous, but I feel like through, getting in a car, you're risking your life too.
Sure.
So even if you're behind the wheel and driving, so if you're a control freak, you're still going to want to be the one driving.
That's true.
I hate driving. I'd love to be able to just get in a car and read a book or do something else.
But good point, because how many do we have friends? I have a lot of friends who are like, wait, turn here, backseat drivers. And can you imagine people like that in the self-driving cars are going to be like,
Yeah. Maybe they'll sit behind the wheel and just sit there just in case,
fighting it
until they get used to it. And then, of course, there's the concern also about taking jobs. People, the truck drivers all losing their. And that's a lot. That's a big chunk of our
truck driving is a huge industry in America. Huge.
Yeah. I'm just one of the thought that if we can, the more we can automate, the more we free up our time to do other things. I mean, there was a time when people worked 12-hour days, 6 days a week, or more. And, when the Industrial Revolution came up, we cut our work day down to 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. And then, even back then kids were working. So I feel like this is an opportunity for us to work fewer hours. We are so caught up in this treadmill of work determining your worth. And of course, everybody should be productive in society, but you can be productive in other ways. You can take care of people, do charity work in your free time, create art. I just feel like we're so caught up in just determining your worth by your work, by working. And then, of course, we don't value people according to the job always. Sometimes the easier jobs have more value. And so anyway,
sales is always considered, like, if any company that I know of, sales always seems to be the number one thing that they put, right?
Because they bring in the revenues. It's like that in my company too. They bring in the revenues. So
and if you're a talker, you can sell.
Yeah. That's, another issue too. But I do feel like even the self checkouts, I always use that because I feel like, why have somebody just do that mundane job just to, determine their worth? And then they say, well, then what about pay? And well, then we work fewer hours for the same. Anyway, I'm getting political like I always do. But I do feel like, I feel like it's something that we need to figure out. We shouldn't stand in the way of progress because of figuring a way to earn our living. We should figure something else out and still continue to automate and make our lives better and easier. And then people say it'll make us lazy. Lazy people are lazy. You can't make them not lazy. And I don't think people that are industrious will find other things to do, and maybe we'll have more inventions and
you may be right about that. I believe self-driving cars are the car of the future. Just a matter of I think it's going to be a little bit longer than maybe Elon Musk has predicted or other people. There's going to be a little bit more. I think he was thinking there were going to be, like, within the next couple of years we would have more, but I think it's going to be longer.
Just a little thing that I in a different subject. Did you hear about that thing that he was talking about planting in the brain? There's
Planning what?
planting in people's brain. It's
Oh, the chip.
yeah, like an
Chip.
artificial intelligence plants in the brain to monitor something to do with health related issues. But he
Oh,
believes that eventually we are going to be part robot, all of us. I
I have
mean,
read about that.
yeah.
It's a little scary, but I have read about
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So that's a little bit further out there, and I don't think we'll have to worry about that anytime soon. But
Yeah,
it could
and
be coming too.
it's kind of like I always joke around about that with Siri and Alexa. They're like, maybe one day they're going to turn into human too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because I
Well,
have
there
friends
are.
that,
Yeah, you could just put that intelligence into a robot. I mean,
right,
there are
sure.
robots. They're creating robots now that are doing, things. I saw a robot dog or something. I can't remember what it does, but it does some
Mm-hmm,
job, a
mm-hmm,
dangerous job. It's
mm-hmm,
replacing a person doing
mm-hmm.
something dangerous. So, yeah, it's interesting to see the next maybe decade, the next 10 years, see what happens.
We'll see what happens. So, would you get a self-driving car? Do you think?
If everybody else has one, yeah, but I'm not going to be. If somebody wants to give me one right now, I'll say no.
Well, yeah,
That's
I don't
okay.
think it's
You're
not
good.
set up. There's a lot of things that still have to happen. But I was telling you about that
Yeah.
Mercedes that I read about. Remember that was like the top of the
Yeah.
line Mercedes that drops you off at your front door and then goes into your
Yeah.
parking space if you live in an apartment. I was like, that I could do,
Yeah.
because you get
Yeah.
out of your car and then let them go. You have to program it.
Yeah.
Something, there's probably a panel somewhere that has to be programmed to sync in
Yeah.
with your car. That's what I'm thinking. But anyway, baby steps, right?
Yeah. 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 Our whole infrastructure would have to be rebuilt, I think, to do
Mm-hmm.
this AI.
Mm-hmm.
So that's down the road, and our government doesn't even want to fix potholes. So
That's true.
I
Good
don't know
point.
if that's
Yeah. I mean, because
really
I would
going to
think they're going to have
happen.
to have special lanes just for the self-driving cars,
I would
and
think
like you
so.
said, we've got so much other work to do before we'll even get to that point.
Yeah. Yeah. I would
So
think so, but we'll see. Yeah. Very
could
interesting.
be, it could be.
See what happens. So, yeah.
All
Well,
right. Anyway, let us know if you would drive a
yeah.
self-driving car and what you think about it, right?
Yeah, tell us what you think in the comments about, losing the jobs. What are we going to do when people lose their jobs because of AI, artificial
Sure.
intelligence? How, we all have to start thinking about these things because it's probably going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And companies will save a lot of money because if they can replace us with a robot, they will,
Sure.
and they'll save money.
Sure.
So it's inevitable that those, things are going to happen. So we need to start using our brains and try to figure out what we're going to do to earn earn our worth.
Alternative sources of income for
Yeah.
for people that will lose their jobs.
How can we rearrange our economy around automation? So yeah, share with us if you know something, and
Yeah.
maybe we'll ask you on the show and talk about it.
Yeah,
Put
that's
it
a
in the
good idea.
comments.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
will, create, the next,
We
uh,
have to do that. I think so many people get stuck in, well, this is the way we've always done it, so we have to keep
sure,
doing it that way.
sure.
And that's not how the world works. We are always evolving and changing. So we either change with it or we get left behind.
Right.
So
And
yeah. So
we don't want to be a dinosaur. So let us know.
yeah. Yeah. So share your thoughts, and we'd love to hear from our audience and see what you guys think. So
All right. Thanks. And we'll see you next time.
yeah, have a good day. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.